Thank you so much for joining. I would like to welcome all our esteemed panelists today for joining us for this discussion. This is the first panel of the evening. So let us start with our overflow of questions. So the first question I will be asking, I would require inputs from all our panelists today, which is, as the topic is around CX revolution, how Gen AI is redefining the customer experience, I would like to know that with Gen AI, which is rapidly transforming the CX across industries, what, according to you, are some of the key challenges and ethical considerations you must be worried about or facing while balancing AI automation with human touch? How has the integration of Gen AI and these emerging technologies felt in the real world, in the practical world, while you're doing your things around customer experience? So, sir, starting from you.
Okay, I am Dharmender Narang from IIFL Securities. We are basically into wealth management. Um, if you look at the way the technology is moving is so fast, the more important is how you keep the ethical balance with the moving towards the technology. And technology is never going to replace the human touch. It is always going to support your improvement and the growth. So if you talk about the Gen AI piece, but I feel it's just a beginning of Gen AI. I think it's a long way to explore it because it is more, I would say, more difficult to control Gen AI than AI. See, we have worked on AI; it is still in control environment. Gen AI is something is very difficult in terms of the database, in terms of keeping the accuracy of the data, in terms of handling customers. So the bigger challenges are that how you're going to control it, because in terms of if you're suppose if I take an example of our if I take an example of say wealth management, so it's very important that you keep in touch with the customers, but you use the technology to service them better. So the important part of if you look at Gen AI is that how you are going to control the data to your servers in terms of integrity, in terms of how if see in most of cases you see the data is reside outside India. To keep the data in your preview, and when you are accessing the data and you are giving the responses, it has to be in control environment. So these are the bigger challenges which I see from the Gen AI perspective. Though Gen AI is more of a revolution and it is still to be explored. It is just a beginning of the case.
Thank you. My name is Ashish Pande. I'm part of the Adani group. So, see, in my mind, there's some 4-5 challenges as far as this entire AI piece is concerned. So, there are some 4-5 challenges in my mind. The first challenge, obviously, is of data privacy, right? I mean, especially so now that the DPDPA is sort of just around the annual. So that's one very big piece in terms of how do we ensure that when we are picking up data, it is collected ethically, and the consumers are pretty much aware of what we are going to do with their data. So that's the first piece that to my mind is extremely important, and hence the organizations need to ensure that there is transparency and there is clear cut information provided and consent taken from consumers when they're collecting data. So that's the first part, because any AI engine, whether it is Gen AI or otherwise, would primarily feed on data, right? So that's the first one. The second one is, while we are doing all of this, we must be very aware that we live in two worlds. Even in India, we are very diverse, right? So we've got a big divide between India and Bharat, now interchangeably used, but there is a big divide. So there are rural and there are the elderly that are not so digitally savvy. So while some of these technologies would help uh, us work with tech savvy or provide solutions to tech savvy consumers, we should be very aware that we also look at voice based technologies to be inclusive when we look at some of the people who are not so tech savvy. So that's the other piece that I think we need to should be sort of working around here. The third piece in my mind is the training of these uh, programs, right? So while yes, linguistic training is definitely something that needs to be done, because we've got 21 official languages and umpteen other languages. It's a melting pot of languages, right? Of cultures as well, and hence the AI engines as we go forward, they need not only be linguistically trained but also culturally trained, right? If we have to really give an experience to our consumers, which is near real experience. So that's the other piece. The third piece in my mind is regulation, right? It's an evolving journey. The regulators are evolving as the industry evolves, and really, it is on the industry to ensure that we self-regulate ourselves, and also own up some of the decisions that the AI engines make. And we cannot sort of dump it on the AI and say, "Oh, you know what? It was the AI that made the mistake." But who made the AI in the first place? Now, because the regulator is, we've seen in the past, right? The regulators tend to respond to the excesses that have been done by the industry, right? You look at the UCC that is there, so many calls that come up all the time, and hence the regulator has to come down and look at these commercial callers and so on and so forth. So it's a menace, but if it were done in moderated terms, it would still pass off, but because it takes such a dire proportion, the regulator has to really come down. Yeah. And the last part, the most important part, is the human touch, right? We are a very touchy feely sort of people, right? uh, we tend to believe in more human connections than anybody else across the globe. um, and that's why, while IVR has been there for donkey's years, but still, at least for me, I would like to speak to a human being at the end of the line, right? I don't know how much of it is true for the people in the audience. um, so while simpler issues can be sort of tackled with AI in the beginning, at least, but the more complex ones, and especially the more emotional ones, are the ones where we require a human, right? And hence we need to keep both of them in tandem. And I think Dharmender also made that a point, saying human is not going to get phased out. You cannot replace the human. But yes, maybe another, I don't know, in some time frame, if AI can become as real as us, then maybe. But at this point in time, I don't think that's the case. So yeah, sorry, but those are the 5 things that in my mind are extremely critical. Yeah.
So, hello, good morning, Mumbai. My name is Kishan, Bhanushali, and I'm from ZebPay. So, I take care of the customer experience bit here at ZebPay. So, I agree to what Ashish and Dharmen already spoke about, the ethical consideration that needs to be taken. See, what I believe is AI, the most important part of AI is intelligence, right? And for me, the way I look at AI is I feel AI is AI plus EQ both put together, if I were to use it in the customer experience bit, right? So somewhere I think we have cracked the IQ, the IQ bit in AI, but EQ is yet to be worked on, still developing, right? I think I see 3 to 5 years that it can be, the results can be seen. uh, but given that, you know I agree to what Ashish said, that there could be ethical consideration given the personal touch. Now me as a segment of customer, there are 1500 ways that I can express my ideas and feelings and certain queries I can describe in, right? So overuse of AI can somewhere lose that personal touch. I personally feel, and this is what I follow, my philosophy is I use AI as a bridge to meet the human, so basically AI in HR. Second is data privacy and data protection, because we use AI sources a lot of data from a lot of omni channels. Protecting the privacy and data becomes paramount. Now we at ZebPay, our the security is engraved in our DNA itself. So our vision is we want to provide a financial landscape by providing secure and innovative digital asset solutions. So security for us is paramount. Now, the other companies who use AI, I think should follow the same security measures and data privacy measures, because it tracks you. It tracks consumers. It tracks consumer in different tangents and different uh, they track your customer journey basically. So they know you in and out, right? And the last thing that I would want to sort of highlight is the employment impact that it makes. So, according to World Economic Forum, 83 million jobs are going to get lost, or we are going to lose 83 million jobs in next 3 to 5 years because of AI. So this is a certain downside. Uh, Although 63 million new jobs are going to get created, but there are 14 million jobs that are going to cease to exit. Now this, it falls under companies, say CSR or their responsibility to upskill and empower their employees. So right from the very beginning, when an employee joins as a trainee, there should be a collaboration between AI and HI. So this is my take on the ethical consideration. I would, pass on the mic to.
Thank you, everyone, and very good morning. Thank you so much, Elets, for calling us here and having this discussion. In fact, from a customer experience standpoint, if I have to look at it, AI does play a major role, but at the same point of time, like my fellow colleagues mentioned, unless and until you have a human touch, you don't feel like that you have gained anything. We all have gathered together from the same perspective that we don't want to only virtually meet and virtually connect on this, but we want to actually physically meet each other and understand each other's perspective and learn from each other. And that's the whole agenda of a human aspect. What I see, AI does play a major role and going forward with the evolution, what Ashish was mentioning, that we will be getting into a EQ mode. That will be a next stage. But personally, what I feel, I think a touch is very important. And that particular touch or personalization or empathy are the main pillars, along with the trust that builds into customer experience. Customer goes back from the perspective that, oh, we need to have somebody available to greet me. For example, Oberoi's, which is an epitome of the customer experience. Once we enter, we only have bots greeting us, or there is a warm welcome, but we don't have a human being. Of course, the entire welcome or the greeting will not be as touchy or as pleasing as we have as of now. So that's one part we all need to think about it from that angle. Second thing, what I feel in terms of data privacy, data security, it is very important that whatever information that is happening around, whatever information which is flowing, as Indians also, we keep passing on the information, and there are certain regulations where we have to provide certain data, certain information. But somewhere or the other, this is being passed on, this is being leaked, and this is being shared in the market without the consent of the customer. That is very, very critical for us, all of us here, to understand that from a customer experience standpoint, all these things play a major role, and how we can ensure that whatever limited information that we need from a customer, that information from a private perspective is taken from them. Then at the same point of time, when we talk about the job displacement, Ashish mentioned that there is a chunk of jobs that are going to be displaced complete in the market. But at the same point of time, if we look at the new jobs which are coming in, what we believe at ICCS is primarily that it is a tool which is helping us to improve the efficiency of our employees. And we have to enable them from all aspects, which gives them a better platform to provide better experience to the customer. What we hate, all of us, is primarily repeating ourselves again and again in terms of getting the resolution. And at the other side, the company has the same policy of, no, we have the same policy, we can't do anything. And if you think about it, the bots are going to do the same. At one point of time, bot is going to get into a circle. But as a human being, at least we would know that somebody is going to be there who is going to listen to us and connect with us emotionally. So that's another part of it. And what I feel is it has to be used as a tool, not for a job replacement, but for a displacement of job, wherein we need to enable and improve more efficiency and generate more jobs in the market through this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing. We had a very good head start. We have all lots of different views coming around AI, all bombarded for our audience today. So now moving on further into more of the niche sectors that you all are from, and the integration of Gen AI and predictive technologies into your spaces. So starting from Dharmender, sir. So, sir, as financial services, particularly wealth management and advisory services, are often relationship driven. People feel more comfortable listening to a human person talking about how to manage their finances than an AI generated bot saying about the same. So, how can that thin balance be maintained wherein you are leveraging AI to its maximum capacity for analytics, understanding the customer behavior, etc., but at the same time balancing human touch along with that as well? So
Yeah, thanks. Uh, See, we have to look at when you are servicing customers or you're using AI or Gen AI is basically the segmentation of the customers. So every time you look at the complete gambit of services which you provide, see, we always divide into two pieces. One is which are your HNI customers and other which are your retail customers. Please understand the human relationships becomes very critical when you talked about wealth management for your HNI customers. So when we are looking at that piece, most important is where you use the AI. AI is very strong or usable or very effective when you talk about drawing out their risk parameters, drawing out their profile parameters, defining the customer, and then based on that customer's profile, you drive out the strategies how to manage their wealth. So it is very effective when you use on those terms, though it needs a personal interaction with the customers to understand his needs, and then you fine tune it using AI in terms of driving out strategies in terms of managing their wealth. So it is very highly effective. That is one piece of it where you talk about wealth. Second, that AI helps even customer to track and to identify how he is progressing in terms of his own wealth. So every customer, when it is HNI customer is, or rather even non-HNI customer, very sensitive about money. When you are talking about wealth, it is your own money, it's hard-earned money. So number one, he would like to have one good wealth manager who is taking decision at the right time. So there where the AI helps you a lot, you can take real-time analysis while using technology. Number two, whether you are able to give a right strategy, right mix of the wealth management tools, or you talk about the different, uh, I would say, if you divide into how you're going to invest in various categories of financial products, that is very important. Third piece is whether customer is able to track how his funds are getting invested and how they are performing. So these are the three things which are very critical when you talk about wealth management. At the same time, when you come to retail, the his requirement is that he should be easily able to check what he is doing. Everybody, if you look at it, is a DIY mode, do it yourself. Nobody wants to come to you. So if you look at 90% of retail, if they go and buy online, e-commerce is flourishing, right? See, nobody wants to go and buy it now. And with easy return policy, everybody goes to Amazon and do the shopping, right? So it is convenient. So what is important for retail? Convenience at your doorstep, and how easy and I would say how simple it is to navigate. So these are the two things which is very retail perspective. So using AI there is become very critical, that how you make your mobile application so simple that it is easy to use, and how convenient it is, and how it gives you easy responses. So whether you talk about chat bots, whether you talk about voice bots, whether you talk about email bots, all these bots are very effectively can be used while servicing these customers who need 24 by 7, who doesn't want to wait in the queue, he wants immediate answer, or he wants do it by himself, he doesn't need people to give him the answers. So you have to categorize your segments and fine tune your strategies to give the service to the customers. This is my view.
Yes, thank you. So, thank you so much, Dharmender sir. We will come on to other questions for our other panelists as well. But before that, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Sajal Kumar, Director, Customer Experience from Z5. Sir, please join us on stage. Thank you so much for making it to this discussion. We're so glad to have you. So, we are discussing on the topic of how Gen AI is redefining the customer experience. So in first question, we answered about the different aspects around Gen AI that people are feeling, people are worried around different industries these days. And now we are talking more about the sector specific aspects of predictive technologies and Gen AI for that matter. So I have one question for you as you have been patiently listening to us since some time. So in the OTT industry, which you come from, content personalization is the key to retaining customer loyalty. Some of the audience prefer their content to be, for example, daily soap dramas, some very insightful discussions and presentations, etc. So personalization has been always been the key. Has Z5 leveraged Gen AI or such emerging technologies for better predicting the viewer preferences and recommending content more effectively? And how has that been working since the advent of such emerging technologies now that we have?
So we in the OTT industry in Z5, to be very specific, we let the Gen AI do the heavy lifting for us. So machine learning and the entire artificial intelligence that we cater around to, we look at user preferences, we look at how the data is being consumed, how the content is being consumed, what genre, what time of the day, and then that entire perspective brings about a recommendation engine, which at the end of the day engages the customer. So if I have a user who is viewing only thriller content on his home TV, and on a Sunday between 6 to 7 p.m. in the evening. So that's where I get to, ping him that, hey, why, you're missing out on this type of a content. Why don't you watch this? Whilst being on that TV, if I see that from a subscription perspective, that the customer doesn't have a 4K subscription, that's an opportunity for me to recommend to him to upgrade to a better experience. And that's how we are utilizing Gen AI to our to our benefit, which is helping us evolve more in terms of providing better content and a better personalization. But hyper personalization being one of the topic contents, it always leads to a filter bubble. So you can't go ahead and just stick to one thing, that my customer is only watching horror, let me give him only horror. Why why can't I go ahead and experiment with other type of genres? So that's where Gen AI kicks in and gives us that leverage in terms of giving the customer a more holistic kind of a genre suggestion and keep him engaged further.
Before I let you go, I have this very curious question which I had to ask. How has the scenario been before Gen AI and predictive technologies, and now that we have this? Of course, we are leveraging this, but OTT platforms have always been a step ahead in predicting the user preferences since a long time, even before Gen AI. So, how were those strategies, and how are they different from what we currently do?
Earlier, the decision making before Gen AI was a little time taking, but now with the Gen AI thing, where you don't have a lot of manual interference, where you don't have a lot of person kind of an interference in it, you get to see a lot of variation within fraction of seconds. So, like I said, from a content bifurcation, or a content delivery or a content consumption, if I am able to give you 3 relevant suggestions within the time you're consuming the content. And as compared, I'm giving you a suggestion after 1 day of consumption. Your uh, eligibility of going ahead and sampling that content becomes very intelligent and it becomes immediate. So that's the difference. Where it was earlier a day or a two, now it is on time, or the real time difference.
To sort of flag off something. Yeah, sure. See, in my mind, the hyper personalization piece, it runs the risk, and all organizations that tend to work on that algo, whether it is the OTT platforms, and especially so the social media uh, pieces as well, you tend to get sucked into a particular type of content, right? And then so if you are, for example, you get the example of horror. I might have liked a particular show, but that not open to other genres, right? And hence, if you only bombard me with one type of genre, in an entertainment, it might be slow, can might surf and so on and so forth. But it becomes very, very difficult or myopic when you start giving content only because somebody's clicked on a particular type of content and then you start bombarding him with that. Because then what that does is that gives a blind eye to some of the other perspectives that might be out there. Yeah, I think so.
Hello. Yeah. So Ashish, like I said when I started with this, hyper personalization will always have a room for filter bubble. That's what I was talking about. So our job in the content industry or any one of the marketers sitting out here is to ensure that the customer is given choice. Don't get stuck into that. Is he watching horror? Let us serve him only horror. That would again lead to a saturation in what you are suggesting to the customer. That's what I had in the beginning itself I had said, let's not get into the filter bubble. Moving out of that filter bubble is where success lies.
That at a broader level, that's the risk that hyper personalization
Definitely, it
tends
is
to
a
get
risk.
into. That's
Yes,
what I'm
it is a
saying.
risk,
Yeah.
and moving from that risk is where success lies for everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. So next question is to Mr. Ashish, sir. So the challenges around customer experience, so such as in your industry, disruptive services, etc. Can emerging technologies such as AI help make customer support systems more faster and efficient? If you've experienced the same, if you will be able to share some instances like this.
Yeah. So see, so in electricity, there's one big problem is disruption, right? How do you address that? So if you're able to address disruption, the consumer experience is going to be that much better. So at Adani, we've already implemented advanced distribution management system. So what that does is that the entire grid is a smart grid, and it real time it checks up. So if there is a tripping or there's a fault or something that comes in, within a fraction of seconds, it checks up where is the fault. It isolates, tries and figures out what are the alternate means through which the power can be restored. Because at the end of the day, we've got substations all over the city. Some of them are loaded, some of them are relatively freer. So from where can we give alternate energy without putting that particular area of the network on risk? So all that is done through AI, ensuring that the switching etc happens automatically. Earlier, I mean, in a pre-AI era, somebody would have to go figure out what the fault is, then figure out how do you sort of either repair the fault, and hence there'll be no electricity till such time that you repair it, or then manually try and figure out how he's going to switch. But all that now is done automatically, and hence you'll be surprised to know, that our uptime, network uptime, is about 99.997%. So that's the sort of uptime that we maintain across Mumbai, and we have about close to what 33 lakh odd consumers in Mumbai, in the area that we service. Out of that, 25 lakh consumers are Adani customers, 7.5 are Tata customers, and out of that 7.5, 5 lakh are sitting on the Adani network. So if I want to put things in perspective, 33 lakh out of 33 lakh, close to about 30 lakh odd consumers are serviced by Adani. While the 5 lakh billing is on Tata. So AI is not only when you look at consumer interfaces, it is not only when the consumer complains and comes, it's also what you can do behind the scenes to ensure that root cause doesn't arise in the first place is something that's A. And the other part that we will also be looking at is smart metering and how that can help alleviate the second biggest problem, which is, I've got high bills, right? That's the second problem. And so what we are doing is that there's real-time monitoring of consumption of energy, and hence timely alerts go out to consumers saying that, hey, given the rate at which you are consuming electricity, you might, so there are slabs. If you go back and look at your bills, there would be slabs, and they are sort of it's a regulated industry. The regulator sets the pricing and so on and so forth. But the moment you switch the slab, the rates increase, and typically people don't realize that, and hence the complaints of high billing. So we go back and in real time basis go back and tell consumers that if you continue to consume at this rate, you expect a higher bill. So that sort of helps in, and at the same time, when that information is also fed to our call center, so when somebody is calling up, maybe for whatever other reason, we can always warn him saying that you are on track to getting a higher bill. So that sort of alleviates some of the problems that sort of come in right up front.
Thank you so much, sir. My next question is to Mr. Kishan Bhanushali. So, sir, from the dynamic industry of cryptocurrency, it all lies on how well you're able to predict, how well you're able to prepare yourselves. Although I'm not much aware about that industry, as technical as it sounds, it's a little scary for the average users as well in the starting. So, how can such technologies, generative AI, predictive analytics, can more, help more deliver a more robust customer experience, and how is ZebPay using such technologies to leverage their entire customer experience journey?
Well, let me start with this. Out of us sitting here right today, how many of you are aware about cryptocurrencies? Can I see some hands? Great. Right, so that strikes off the first thing. So let me also tell you one thing. According to chain analysis, India ranks number 1 in 2024 when it comes to the crypto adoption. So that's one. Second, ZebPay is pioneer in revolutionizing the cryptocurrency landscape in India. So this is what I feel. You can take the survey later. Every first Bitcoin or ETH has been bought by ZebPay for every crowd setting here. That's the statistics that we have right now. Talking about AI and how we leverage it in ZebPay, I'll tell you what. Like, we use a combination of narrow AI, that's weak AI, like your Siri and Alexa sorts, right? We use that for our OBDs, right, to run our outbound campaigns. We use Gen AI to keep our draft pick and span, and we also use some sort of combination of AI and HI, right? So we have massive data flowing from other omni channels, say Instagram, say Telegram, etc., etc. So let me introduce to a model, right, that I've recently coined, and it is still under needs a lot of validation, but I would use this stage and this opportunity to introduce. So the model is named as follows. It is knowledge, insights, smart, hyper selected AI navigation, which is a long form of Kishan, Kishan. So I want you to visualize a 2x2 matrix with me, where on y-axis you can see volumes ranging from low to high, and on the x-axis you can see criticalness of a certain query ranging from low to high. Now let's come to the bottom quartile where there is low volumes with low criticalness. Now those sort of queries we usually give it to our trainees who are new joiners, who are not yet accustomed to the concept of crypto per se, and we use this opportunity for them to shake hands with AI, right? Now coming to the bottom right side where the criticalness is slightly higher, but volumes are still low. What do we do is we don't need AI there because these are sort of strategic decisions that has to be made, and sort of crisis management where AI can learn from the queries that are coming in and sort of answers that are going out, right? So that is the one. Now let's move to the top where the volumes are high, but the criticalness is less on the less side. Now here what we do is there is zero human intervention there because we have our RPS, robotic process automation set where there are preset variables fed in the system. There is almost zero intervention of humans. 99.99% queries are handled by automation. Now let's come to the top right quadrant where it says the criticalness is also high and the volumes are also high. Now this is where AI and human actually shake hands. You can see a very beautiful harmony between the both, wherein it sort of works like a co-pilot, wherein if a customer query flows in, uh, the AI will give you smart suggestion based on what data you have fed in the Gen AI. It gives you, 3 or 4 sort of uh, replies ranging from pessimist to optimist on how probable customer is going to be delighted. Let's put that way. So this is how we set a harmony of AI HI. An extended version of this model is imagine the matrix here, and there is a closed box bracket on the right side, correct? And there are two arrows going, one coming out, one coming in, and then there is another box of Gen AI. So this model constantly feeds Gen AI with word clouds, different sort of words expressed to describe a query, different phases used to describe an emotion. So now my Gen AI also knows what sort of words are used not only to describe a certain query but also certain emotion. So my sentiment analysis is also happening there. I'm getting ready for the next phase, which is the emotion AI thing, and that is in-house, inbuilt. What AI in return gives to my model is a constant modification of drafts, new drafts, and keywords that I get via omnichannel and social listening. So this is an autonomy, right? What do I get? What does ZebPay get from it, right? Number one, I derive from this is prediction. At any given point of time, I would know how much is the inflow, what sort of customer satisfaction levels am I seeing. If there is a delta, my managers will be focusing on how to bridge the gap between the data, because rest is taken care by my AI. That is one. Second, it even boils down to how can I do the WFM bit, the workforce management bit, your roster making, roster adherence, everything will be taken care by my model. Third, I can segregate my customer in certain segments, and that segment can range from say early adopters to early majors to late majors to laggards to brand loyalists. Now, if I want to launch a certain campaign, I know where to go. So basically, to sum up, to be in this dynamic industry, you have to shake your hands with AI, and you have to be on the top of it every time, right? So this is the nature of my industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So my next question is to Mr. Arora. So, sir, as ICCS is basically the leader in customer service outsourcing and plays a pivotal role in shaping the customer experience for multiple industries. So, how Gen AI is contributing to the way ICCS works, designs, and delivers customer support for its clients, and how has that differed from how things were before Gen AI era?
Yeah, thank you for asking this. In fact, if you talk about it, everybody in the panel also have their own industries to expertise with. Everybody understands that they have their own particular industry to work with. We at ICCS, we have got multiple industries, whether it is retail, whether it is, for that matter, we are anyway serving Adani also, Adani Electricity. In fact, you talk about travel, you talk about BFSI, you talk about insurance, all the sectors we are supporting, and we are working on the customer experience. Our role becomes more critical to go back and give inputs to every partner so that they keep improving, enhancing the business, and with the use of AI at their end and the AI at our end, we provide a better experience to our customers. Ultimately, they are for us, our clients' customers are the ultimate customers that we have to support with, and we have to ensure that agents who are sitting and taking calls or resolving through any of the other channels, they have ample amount of data and information available with them, which is apt for a particular resolution. With the AI, the best part is we can push certain information which is relevant on the basis of the query which has been asked by the customer. And real time, we have that option where on the front of a screen, with the agent assist and with other agent augmentation, we are able to give them that, okay, this is what you have missed on the call, you need to inform this, or probably this is the right solution for the question that has been asked by the customer. Second thing, we follow a quality management system which has given us an extensive area to work upon, and also look at 100% monitoring of all transactions which are happening at the center. And with that 100% monitoring, we are able to gauge in case if there are customers whose issue has not been resolved. There are customers who have contacted us more than 3 times, 4 times, or maybe beyond as well. So our proactive approach in terms of giving them the resolution and contacting them helps us in giving a better experience to the customer. Then in terms of learning, what we all talked about, that AI as a tool is yet to be trained properly and learned. Same goes with all our agents as well. When they are sitting and taking calls, the learning plays a major role. We have gamified our learning management system completely. Our industry is such wherein we have more of the youngsters coming in out of the colleges and getting a job at contact centers. So they want to experience a gamified version of everything to learn. And even in terms of knowledge, in terms of learning, they don't want to go through books, they don't want to go through long PPTs. They want to see that, okay, there's a video which is being played. There is a gamified version wherein they can actually play it as a game and learn from there. So that is a learning management tool that we use. In terms of performance, at any point of time, all the resources that we have, with the click of a button, even on their phone, they would have an option to see the kind of performance they have given over the past few weeks, over the past few months, and how they have been trending on each parameter. And for that matter, also what are the areas of opportunity they have in whether it is in terms of related to quality, whether it is in terms of giving more update about a particular industry or knowledge about that particular domain that they are working in. For example, if somebody is working in a travel domain, what is the current news that is happening, that is also pushed to these resources so that they can immediately get some input. In case if they are interacting with the customer, they have a knowledge about it, or at least they can provide a better experience to them. Then we talk about the kind of data minimization which is required for them, that okay, this is the app data, too much of also for advisors is not a very good idea to look at. And we ensure that everything that comes in out gets captured through an AI based tool which is relevant to the client. We pass on that information to the client in a summarized manner so that they can accordingly work in terms of improving their customers experience. That's how it is helping us so far. And I'm sure with the evolution that is happening every day overnight with the AI, we would be getting better results from there.
Thank you so much, sir. So I would want the panel to go on and on because I had a list of questions lined up for you guys. But as we come down to the end of this session now, to not delay the session even more, I would like a closing remark from all our esteemed panelists. So let's start from Mr. Sajal.
So, something really basic towards the implementation of AI is the training part. One big gap, or I would say a pitfall that we see in training the AI is data bias. So, if you are able to address that one gaping hole, you would be able to achieve what you want out of that AI. So, what you want to do and why you want to do, these are the two questions that you need to answer first while implementing it. And while you go ahead implementing it, you need to ensure that there is no data bias in the data. Because what happens is, if the AI picks up a bias in terms of service or in terms of a transactional value, it will, all your efforts that you've done will go down the drain. So that's one thing I would want everyone who is looking at implementing AI in their realms to be very specific and very critical of. Thanks.
Dharmender sir?
Thank you. I think most of the part is covered. One thing we have to accept: the future is AI, and it is going to continue, and it is going to explode. So, very important is that what is the value add you are doing by using the technology is more important. As earlier said, the human touch will always be there when it is your important customers are there. So, very important is that how you are going to add value which enhance your service levels. And even for a retail also, the most important is how, see, in our industry, we wanted to be there where the customer is. So we are on chatbot, we are on WhatsApp bot, we use email bot, we are using voice bot to give him the service whatever way and whichever channel he wants to. And most important is use AI not only to respond and respond correctly. More important is you give a uniform experience through all the channels. So that is our core focus is how to enhance the satisfaction level of the customers. And at any point of time he is not satisfied, he should be able to connect to your agents. That is our core focus. From any of the channels coming to us, the one important thing is, if bot is not able to service, there is a backend, there is a agent who is able to service. Even on calls, if my bot is not able to answer, it seamlessly gets transferred to the client. See, end of the day, you don't want to create a hindrance to the service, but you want to enhance the service. So that is where you can do the value add. So every time when you use any technology in AI, the most important, the core is what is the end objective and how you're going to enhance and do the value add to the customer.
No, so very quickly, in my mind, inclusivity of all types of consumers, I think, is very, very critical, right? I mean, I'm not touching on the points that other panelists have already spoken about. Now, whether it is the rural consumer, whether it is the elderly, the people who are not so digitally savvy, those are also need to be taken care of, because it's like a pyramid, and that layer tends to really form a large chunk. So even from the economics part of it as well, extremely important that organizations pay heed to that particular section and and when they're deploying AI, it's across all channels and across especially those channels which are serving people who are not technologically advanced. So that is something that is extremely critical.
Thank you, Ashish. That was indeed insightful. That also brings me, that raises a chain of thought in my head. So, deploying and implementing AI, it sure comes with a cost, because there is training, staffing, the tool, you pay for the tool itself, you pay for the annual maintenance fee, etc., etc. This is what I feel, right? Because you're sitting on a lot of data, right? You process, you put in, you process, and then there are output that you get from the data, right? Uh, there should be a gangplank sort of a thing that should exist, where the CX team, the marketing team, and the sales team must run in harmony, because there are so many insightful things that are often missed because of the data sharing within the company itself. So this thing has to be harnessed, number one. Second, all the companies, I would request to push that envelope, right, in the genre of AI, and start training your employees right from the beginning for this, because 90% of this is what IBM says, 90% of the conversational queries are going to be handled by AI itself. And correct, all the mundane tasks are going to go to AI. plus 65% of the marketing content in next 5 years are going to be handled by Gen AI. So we have to be future ready. We have to empower our employees. And my closing remark would be AI for me, I visualize it as 7 or 10 horses, wild horses, trained but wild horses running, and you need a master charioteer to channelize and direct the energy. So that's what I feel about AI. So those will be my closing remarks. Thank you so much.
So I'll just summarize it quickly and give you a simplified version what according to me AI is all about as of now, and in terms of customer experience how we can further enhance and use it. Uh, what I see is if I have to compare it just like a child in the family, a new infant has come in who has been getting trained and learned. What Sajal was mentioning is absolutely correct. The way we treat it and the way we train it is very, very important. The kind of schooling it has to go through, the kind of education it has to go through, it is the same version. And we all have a collective responsibility to ensure that it is well educated, and the negative side is absolutely curtailed, and it becomes our responsibility to ensure that all these things are generally regulated as well. And in terms of human beings, while it is an excellent technology innovation that has come in and it is going to take us all to the next level, it is imperative for us to understand and learn it before we deploy it. Most of the companies have deployed it without understanding it completely and the kind of value add it is going to add them. So we all have to understand it and learn it, and what Ashish was mentioning, make our employees learn it uh, well in advance in terms of implementing it so that they can have a apt use of AI in their domain, and especially for customer experience. But ultimately, it is the tool which is going to enhance the experience, enhance the productivity and performance for each individual. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank all our esteemed panelists for taking out time and imparting us with wealth of knowledge and information today.